Right. The speed of light is approximately 300 million meters per second. What is the speed of light and expressed in scientific notation? So 300 million. If we want scientific notation, remember, your first number has to always be between 1 and 10. So the only place I can do that is put my decimal right here. So this is where I want it. It's really back here, so now I have to count. So now I have 3.0 times, and it's always times 10. I have to count. So if I was to move it, it would move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spots to the right. So that'd be 3.0 times 10 to the 8. Okay. Number 11 says, what real number property of multiplication is shown in this equation? So we went 3 times 11 times 10, 3 times 10 times 11. So all that happened was these two switched spots. So you got to ask yourself, what property tells me I can just flip-flop things? Inverse means I would multiply by the opposite, so that's not right. Identity, since it's multiplication, would be times by 1. Associative has to have some parentheses, and commutative just says you can flip-flop numbers around. So that would be D, commutative property. Alright, 12. When simplifying the following, use order of operations. Which operations should be performed first? So again, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. So now, you have your parentheses here. So you have parentheses 12 minus 8 times 3. So you have to do whatever's in this parentheses first. But there's two things inside the parentheses. You have a minus, a 12 minus 8, and a 8 times 3. Since multiplication comes before subtraction, you're going to do the 8 times 3 first. And then if you just wanted to practice this, we could always solve it just because we can. So this would be 11 divided by 12 minus 24 plus 2 to the 4th. 11 divided by negative 12 plus 2 to the 4th. 11 divided by negative 12 plus 2 to the 4th would be 4, 8 would be 16. 11 divided by negative 12 would be a negative 11 twelfths plus 16, which would just give me a 15 and 1 12th. But we just did that just because we like to do math. But the first thing we did was 8 times 3. Alright, this one says, which number is less than 138%? So again, whenever you compare stuff like this, you're always going to change it to decimals. So 138%, you change the percent to a decimal by moving it 2 to the left. So this is 1.38. Alright, 13 divided by 8. Let's check out what that is. That's 1.625. So that's not right, because that's not smaller. 1 1/8, so we're going to go 1 divided by 8. So this is going to be 1.125. So that is smaller, so that might be right. 1.75 isn't. And times 10 to the second is going to be 125. So that's not right. So it would be B. Alright, which of the following expressions is equivalent to this? So remember, equivalent means equal. So you got to do this stuff inside the parentheses first if you were to solve this all. But they're just looking for you to tell you what it is. So remember, you could use the distributive property to multiply by both things inside. So that would be 4.1 times 8.5 minus 4.1 times 6.2. So that would be right here. Alright. Triangles XYZ and KLM are congruent. Remember, congruent means equal. What is the ratio of the length of XY to KL? So, since they put XY first and KL first, and they said that they are congruent, that means they're the exact same, so they would be 1 to 1. So 1 to 1 means they're equal. 1 to 2 would mean that this one's twice the size. 1 to 3 would mean this is 3 times the size. 1 to 4 would be 4 times the size. So 1 to 1 ratio means that they are equal and congruent. All right, this says, which grid shows a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation of triangle PQR about the origin. So PQR is up here in our first quadrant, so we're going counterclockwise 90 degrees. So remember, clockwise is to the right around the clock, because if you start at 12. So counterclockwise is going to be to the left. So 90 degrees is going to move me one quadrant. So I'm going to need to go this way, so that's not right. This way, that's not right. Alright, so that one might be right, and that one might be right. So I've already eliminated two just by knowing which way that rotates. Alright, now if I rotated this, if you were to spin it about the origin, you're going to move it and it's going to turn. So I'm going to look more like this. Okay, right down here, this would be a translation because you're just sliding it over. But over here, we literally rotated it and turned it. So our answer in this case would be J. All right, and which quadrant is 17, 18? So if we had our quadrant here, remember, you start, it forms a C. So quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4 on your X and your Y. So 17, 18 is your X, 17 is your X, 18 is your Y. So if this was your origin right here, to the right is positive, to the left is negative, up is positive, down is negative. So 17 is positive, so that means I'm moving this way, and then 18 is positive, so I'm going up, so I'm going to end up in quadrant 1. All right, triangle ABC is similar to triangle PQR, so that means that they are proportional to one another, which proportion can be used to find n. So when I do these, I like to redraw them so they're both facing the same way. So if I redrew that smaller one, this was C, this was A, and this was B. So AB was 4, BC was 9, and AC was 8. All right, so I want to find n. So since I want to find n, or find whatever proportion is for n, I'm going to put that first. So we're going to go here. Now, what I want to do with this, I want to match up whatever n is going with. So since n is the slanted side, it's going to be the slanted side over here. So now I'm saying n equals 9. And now I just need to choose two numbers that match up. So I'm going to choose the 12, since that's easier to see because they're both on the bottom. So since this was with the 12 was with the n, I'm going to put that over here. And the side that matched up to the 12 was the 4. Alright, so down here, they just kind of flip-flopped it around. So they just said 4 over 9 equals 12 over n. So all we did was we just looked at the stuff, compared, and matched things up. So our answer right there would be J. Alright, a cylindrical paint can has a diameter of 12 centimeters and a height of 16 centimeters. So if I had a paint can, so a cylinder, remember, it looks like this. And we had a diameter, so remember, diameter goes all the way across. And we said that that was 12 centimeters. And then it had a height of 16 centimeters. Alright, so then they ask us, what is the closest to the volume of the can of paint in the cubic centimeters? So we should know that volume is equal to pi r squared times height. So let's substitute in what we know. So pi is just going to be pi. Now this is radius, but they gave us the diameter. So remember, radius is half of a diameter, so my radius is going to be 6 squared, and then my height was 16. So let's go ahead and multiply this out. It's going to be pi times 36 times 16. So we can get our calculator out here. And we'll go 36 times 16. So we got 576. So right now I got 576 times pi. And just to make things simple, we're just going to call pi 3.14. So we'll go times 3.14 equals 1,808.64. And remember, volume, we always do cubic units. So they asked which one's closest, so they just rounded to the nearest whole. So it'd be 1,809. All right, which of the following is the name of the shape? So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So an octagon has 8 sides, hexagon has 6, pentagon has 5, and hept has 7. So this is a hexagon. Which property is common to all quadrilaterals? So a quadrilateral, all have 4 angles. They do all have 4 angles. 4 congruent sides. Only a square and a rhombus have this. Opposite sides are parallel. Not necessarily, because a kite does not have this. So not a kite. And then, or a trapezoid. And then opposite angles are congruent, also with a kite. Whoops. So, in this case, they are looking for which properties all common to all quadrilaterals. Every quadrilateral has 4 angles.